Hey there, AI future enthusiasts. Are you ready to dive deep into the brain of AI and discover the wizardry behind Meta's latest innovations? Let's drop in on Mark Zuckerberg presenting the new Meta AI with Llama 3.
All right, big day here. We are releasing the new version of Meta AI, our assistant that you can ask any question across our apps and glasses. And our goal is to build the world's leading AI and make it available to everyone. Now, today we are upgrading Meta AI with Llama, our new state-of-the-art AI model that we're open sourcing. And I'm going to go deeper on Llama 3 in just a minute. But the bottom line is that we believe that Meta AI is now the most intelligent AI assistant that you can freely use. To make Meta AI even smarter, we've also integrated real-time knowledge from Google and Bing right into the answer. We're also making Meta AI much easier to use across our apps. We built it into the search box that's right at the top of WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Messenger. So anytime you have a question, you can just ask it right there. And we built a new website, meta.ai, for using it from the web. We're also releasing a bunch of unique creation features. Meta AI now creates animations, and it now creates high-quality images so fast that it actually generates and updates the image.
Strap in, because today we're talking about something huge, the Llama 3 model. And let me tell you, it's not just big, it's gigawatt big. First off, who here loves the idea of AI but is kinda spooked about a few big companies holding the keys to the AI kingdom? Yeah, me too. But here's the scoop. Meta is stirring the pot in a big way with AI. Mark talks a little more about AI consciousness.
Going to be pretty fundamental. I think it's going to be more like the creation of computing in the first place, right? So you'll get all these new apps in the same way that when you got the web or you got mobile phones, you got like people basically rethought all these experiences, and a lot of things that weren't possible before now became possible. So I think that will happen, but I think it's a much lower level innovation. It's going to be more like going from people didn't have computers to people have computers. You know, in like the cosmic scale, obviously it'll happen quickly over a couple of decades or something. But I do think that there is some set of people who are afraid of like, it really just kind of spins and goes from being like somewhat intelligent to extremely intelligent overnight. And I just think that there's all these physical constraints that make that so that that's unlikely to happen. I don't really see that playing out. So I think we'll have time to kind of acclimate a bit, but it will really change the way that we work and give people all these creative tools to do different things that they, I think it's going to be, it's going to really enable people to do the things that they want a lot more. That's tricky. I think people like to, the history of humanity, I think, has been people basically, thinking that certain aspects of humanity are like really unique in different ways, and then coming to grips with the fact that that's not true, but humanity is actually still super special, right? So it's like we thought that the Earth was the center. Bias that people tend to have is thinking that intelligence is somehow kind of fundamentally connected to life, and it's not actually clear that it is. I mean, I don't know that we have a clear enough definition of consciousness or life to kind of fully interrogate this, but I think that there's all this science fiction about, okay, you create intelligence and now it like starts taking on all these human-like behaviors and things like that. But I actually think that the current incarnation of all this stuff, at least, kind of feels like it's going in a direction where intelligence can be pretty separated from consciousness and agency and things like that, I think just makes it a super valuable tool. So I don't know. I mean, obviously it's very difficult to predict what direction this stuff goes in over time, which is why I don't think anyone should be dogmatic about, how they plan to develop it or what they plan to do. I think you want to kind of look at like...
That's right, no secret clubs here, just pure innovation unleashed for everyone. How cool is that? Now, let's talk AI energy requirements.
A few years, I think there's this issue of GPU production.
Yeah.
Right. So even companies that had the money to pay for the GPUs couldn't necessarily get as many as they wanted because there were all these supply constraints.
Yeah.
Now I think that's sort of getting less. So now I think you're seeing a bunch of companies think about, wow, we should just like really invest a lot of money in building out these things. And I think that will go for some period of time. There is a capital question of like, okay, at what point does it stop being worth it to put the capital in, but I actually think before we hit that, you're going to run into energy constraints, right? Because I don't think anyone's built a gigawatt single training cluster yet. I mean, just to, I guess, put this in perspective, I think a gigawatt, it's like around the size of like a meaningful nuclear power plant only going towards training a model. And then you run into these things that just end up being slower in the world. Like getting energy permitted is like a very heavily regulated government function. And if you're talking about building large new power plants or large build outs and then building transmission lines that cross other private or public land, that is just a heavily regulated thing. So you're talking about many years of lead time. So if we wanted to stand up just some like massive facility to power that, I think that's a very long-term project. I think we would probably build out bigger clusters than we currently can if we could get the energy to do it. So I think that's I think a bunch of companies are running at stuff like that. But then when you start getting into building a data center that's like 300 megawatts or 500 megawatts or a gigawatt, just no one has built a single gigawatt data center yet. So I think it will happen, right? I mean, this is only a matter of time, but it's not going to be like next year. It's one of the trickiest things in the world to plan around is when you have an exponential curve, how long does it keep going for?
Yeah.
And I think it's likely enough that it will keep going, that it is worth investing the tens or 100 billion plus in building the infrastructure to assume that if that kind of keeps going, you're going to get some really amazing things that are just going to make amazing products. But I don't think anyone in the industry can really tell you that it will continue scaling at that rate for sure, right? In general, in history, you hit bottlenecks at certain points. And now there's so much energy on this that maybe those bottlenecks get knocked over pretty quickly. But I don't think that this is like something that can be quite as magical as just like, okay, you get a level of AI and you get a bunch of capital and you put it in, and then like all of a sudden the models are just gonna kind of like I think you do hit different bottlenecks.
It is very insightful that energy is the bottleneck, not compute power. Ever wished you could animate any image or generate high-quality pics as you type? Guess what? Llama 3's got you covered. Imagine typing cow in a field, and boom, there's your cow, chilling with a backdrop of majestic mountains. And if you say the cow's sipping a beer? No problem. This AI tweaks the image real time. Talk about a party animal, huh? But hold up, what about the juice to run this magic? No, not the electric kind, though we'll get there. I'm talking about the brainpower, the tech juice. These AI models aren't just smart, they're energy-hungry beasts. Meta's talking about needing gigawatts of power, the kind you'd need for a small city. Ever thought your app could cause a blackout? Welcome to the future of AI. Speaking of power, ever felt annoyed when your phone tells you, sorry, can't do that? Well, Meta's felt that too, thanks to Apple.
Think generally sucks about the mobile ecosystem is that like you have these two gatekeeper companies, Apple and Google, that can tell you what you're allowed to build. And there are lots of times in our history. So there's the economic version of that, which is like, all right, we build something and they're just like, I'm going to take a bunch of your money. But then there's the qualitative version, which is actually what kind of upsets me more, which is there's a bunch of times when we've launched or wanted to launch features, and then Apple's just like, nope, you're not launching that. Is like, are we kind of set up for a world like that with AI, where like you're going to get a handful of companies that run these closed models that are going to be in control of the APIs and therefore going to be able to tell you what you can build? Well, for one, I can say for us, it is worth it to go build a model ourselves to make sure that we're not in that position, right? Like I don't want any of those other companies telling us what we can build. But from an open source perspective, I think a lot of developers don't want those companies telling them what they can build either. And this is one of the reasons why I'm kind of philosophically so pro open source, is I do think that a concentration of AI in the future has the potential to be as dangerous as kind of it being widespread. So I think a lot of people are, they think about the questions of, okay, well, if it can do this stuff, is it bad for it to be out wild, like just in kind of widely available? I think another version of this is like, okay, well, it's probably also pretty bad for one institution to have an AI that is way more powerful than everyone else's AI. I kind of think that a world where AI is very widely deployed in a way where it's gotten hardened progressively over time, and is one where all the different systems will be in check in a way that seems like it is fundamentally more healthy to me than one where this is more concentrated. So there are risks on all sides, but I think that that's one risk that I think I don't hear them.
So they ask the big question, are we setting up for a world where AI is just another gatekeeper? Nope, not on Meta's watch. They're all about breaking down walls, not building them. Globe now, let's go deeper, open source, baby. Think about it. What's better than having powerful AI? Having AI that everyone can improve, learn from, and not just a privileged few. It's like making the recipe for the world's best pizza public. Who wouldn't want a slice of that? And you know, all this talk about innovation and pushing boundaries isn't new. It's as old as, well, the Roman Empire. Remember Augustus? Yeah, the guy who wanted peace when everyone else just wanted a break between wars. Meta's kinda doing what Augustus did for peace, but for AI. Transforming the game so we're not just waiting for the next tech war. But hey, what's the future without a bit of drama, right? With great power comes great, well, you know the drill. Meta's on it, though. They're not just building AI. They're tackling the tough stuff. Like making sure it doesn't go rogue and start its own digital empire. So, what do you think? Are we heading towards a world where AI is as common as smartphones? Or are we just on the edge of something even bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's chat about the future like it's already here because, in a way, it is. Alright, tech adventurers, that's a wrap for today. If you dug this ride through the digital cosmos, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that bell to not miss out on our next tech trek. Stay curious, stay brilliant, and as always, keep looking to the future. Catch you on the flip side.